Batman versus Spider-Man is a pretty great fight, especially if you're talking Arkham Batman versus Insomniac Spider-Man. But today, let's mix it up a little bit and see if Batman could take down some of Spider-Man's most dangerous and powerful villains. Could Batman defeat the Sinister Six? Well, let's find out. And if you want to see more videos like this one, well, be sure to subscribe. Turn on those notifications while you're at it. Now, if you're watching this video or are just a living, breathing human, well, odds are you probably already know who Batman is. So no need to really get into his backstory here. Dead parents, hates crime, dresses like a bat, might be a little bit crazy. Not much more to it. So let's go ahead then and just start talking about how strong Batman is over in the Arkhamverse. And Bruce is crazy strong. I mean, can we just go ahead and stop pretending that Batman is still just a normal human? The guy is clearly superhuman. He got them Captain America muscles. He can pull down walls and tear off metal vents and bust through wood, even concrete walls, and crush metal and tear apart metal and break metal. And he's just ridiculously strong. And all that is kind of just done with inanimate objects, nothing too fancy. I think Batman is really at his best when he's going up against other people. I mean, he can easily dangle a dude off a building with just one arm, casually, then even have enough strength to pretend to drop him and scare him a bit. Think about that. You can't do that, I can't do that, no one is really strong enough to do that. I don't even think these Batmen are truly strong enough to do that. At least do it that easily. And he did it so casually, and did it more than once. And he's done even more impressive stuff. I mean, Batman is regularly just picking people up and throwing them all around. He does it literally all the time. And sometimes he'll do it with 20 plus people all at once. Then there's the big three: Bane, Killer Croc, and Solomon Grundy. These are the strongest beings in the Arkhamverse, and Batman is still able to fight against all of them, and then overpower, at least somewhat, all of them too. Like take Killer Croc for instance. Batman fought against him in Arkham Origins, when Croc was one of the 8 assassins coming after him. And Croc was trying to eat Bruce's face off, and Batman was strong enough to hold off Croc. And just so you know, Killer Croc is strong enough to pick up and throw a huge gas container and create shockwaves with his strikes, rip apart bank vaults and prisons. Look at Solomon Grundy. He's strong enough to rip out his huge steel ball and chain. You start swinging and smashing those things all around. Batman is able to break free from his grip. That's got to require some serious strength. Then there's Bane. And when he's on the Titan Venom, Bane is a whole other beast. He's crazy, crazy, crazy. Able to smash Batman through brick walls like it's nothing, and smash through other walls and chuck cop cars around, and Batman is still able to break free from Bane's grip too. Just think about that. Think about the level of strength that's required to do all that stuff. I mean, that's super soldier level type of strength. No question about it. And all that definitely translates over into how Batman throws a punch too. I mean, he's regularly punching and kicking people up into the air, sending them flying across the room, just throwing them all around. Think about that. He's hitting grown men, like 200, 250 pound dudes. He's punching them so hard that they're literally leaving their feet and flying across the room. That's a whole lot of power in that punch. And he's not just doing it against people either. He's doing this exact same thing. Literally the exact same thing against metal robots. And then we can circle back to the big three. Bane's been run over full speed by the Batmobile before. Killer Croc can easily take explosions straight to his face. Grundy can keep on going with like his chest wide open and all of his ribs out there exposed. All these guys are completely and totally bulletproof. They're all tough. And yet Batman is able to knock out all of them by just punching them. They're tough enough to survive all of these things, but they're not tough enough to survive Batman's punches. Wow, Bruce is just insanely strong. And if you're out there defending the streets of Gotham every night, well, it's gonna take a whole heck of a lot more than just being strong. I mean, a good bit of Batman's villains are just as strong as him. He's gonna be taking some punches along the way. And man, can Bruce take a hit. I mean, one time Bane picked up Batman, just threw him like a football, then straight up punched him through a concrete wall, and he just kept on going. In fact, he's taken a ton of attacks from Bane over the years, like a ton of high-powered attacks. And Bane is seriously strong, too. He's taken a ton of attacks from Killer Croc over the years, and Croc is crazy strong. Took attacks from Solomon Grundy, and Grundy is way stronger than Bane in Arkham. He's taken attacks from Clayface. Batman can take a punch for sure. He's essentially bulletproof, can take all sorts of gunfire and not go down. His armor is going to take all sorts of gunshots, legit no problem. He can take plenty of explosions, essentially walk through massive explosions, not even be fazed by any of it. And I'm talking being right there at ground zero with the explosion, taking it without any problem. He can take ice blast, electricity, withstand poison, enough fear toxin to drive 10 men insane and break their hallucinations and everything. And Batman's endurance is even just crazy. Did you know that each Arkham game is supposed to take place over just a single night in Gotham? I know, that's a little crazy, a little unrealistic, especially Arkham Knight. But they do. Batman fights essentially his entire rogues gallery, fighting all of these villains in just one night. And so that makes this next feat not necessarily too far-fetched. One time, Batman was captured and forced to fight Solomon Grundy for a week straight, driven to the absolute brink of exhaustion, yet somehow keeps on going. And remember how strong and powerful Grundy is? And then there's Batman's speed. This guy is truly the best of us. He's the strongest, he's the toughest, and he's the fastest. Batman is insanely fast while in combat, dodging all sorts of attacks, leaping and moving at just insane speeds. And actually, the further that he gets into a fight, well, the faster he moves. He's able to easily dodge bullets. Literally, this is just easy for him. And even do it while going up against some of the best marksmen in the universe. Like, I'm talking about Deadshot here. He can dodge missiles and bazookas. He can even dodge electricity. The dude can straight up dodge electricity. Batman just has some of the greatest reflexes and combat speed that you're ever gonna see. But he might be moving so fast that you just don't see it. I mean, he can move at just ludicrous speeds, blocking attacks, releasing punches, just moving so fast. I legit don't even know how he's able to move that fast. I just don't. So, that's Batman's physicality. And all that easily makes him the physically best Batman you're ever gonna see on your screen. Comics Batman is a whole other animal, but compared to every other single movie Batman, Arkham Batman is just gonna physically destroy them. And that's not even talking about Bruce's skill when he's in a fight. He's an expert in most known forms of martial arts, which I think it's just a hilarious way of wording it, because it implies that there are mysterious, unknown forms of martial arts out there. He's easily able to defeat whole groups of thugs. You routinely do this all throughout every single Arkham game. He's able to take down whole teams of SWAT officers, take down a big group of Tiger Guards, take down whole groups of ninjas from the League of Assassins, and then beat the Arkham Knight's men too. So yeah, Batman is skilled enough to beat whole entire groups of people, no problem whatsoever. He's able to fight against and beat Deathstroke, who's physically way better than Batman and can beat 100 enemies at once. And Batman beat him. He's able to defeat Ra's al Ghul, a 600-year-old warrior. Then he's able to stalemate and fight against Lady Shiva too, someone who's reportedly unmatched in combat skill, and fight her while fighting against other ninjas and martial arts experts at the same time. And yeah, you could argue that the gameplay in Arkham is a little simple when it comes to fighting. You can basically just get away with button mashing and you'll still win. But in the actual Arkhamverse universe, Batman is truly top tier, bar none. Able to take out whole groups of thugs without missing a beat. Able to beat the best martial artist in the world. You can't really get better than this. And then this is Batman. You know he's got a ton of wonderful, glorious gadgets on him all the time. Like the Batarang. He can throw 3 of them at once and he's crazy accurate with them. And that's not all, because he has remote Batarangs which can weave through bullets, be remotely controlled through the air, and thermal Batarangs and shock Batarangs and reverse Batarangs which will attack you in reverse, and sonic Batarangs and all sorts of little Batarangs he's got going on for him. The Batclaw, which can do so much more than just helping Batman jump around the rooftops at night from getting point A to point B. He'll use it to grab people and yank them around, tie them up, and he's got a remote version of this thing, and even a super Batclaw. Can shoot out 3 different claws at once. He's got smoke pellets, shock gloves, which he straight up stole off a dead body, explosive gel, which Batman will use to either blow stuff up or he'll even quick deploy it in fights and take people out that way. Even look at his disruptor, which it can use to shut down guns, mines, weapon crates, turrets, and it'll even knock out anybody who tries to use those weapons. Or the remote electric charge, which can knock out and stun enemies or shut down machinery too. He's got a voice analyzer that mimics people's voices, allowing him to bypass security, and a cryptographic sequencer that basically allows him to hack into anything and allows bats to get past special locks. And then there's his detective vision built into his cowl, allowing Batman to see through walls, monitor enemies, analyze his environment, and it really allows him to do some crazy stuff, like perfectly recreate crime scenes and run through exactly what happened, or track people around Arkham because of the smell on their breath. It's almost like some real low levels of omniscience or something, just some crazy stuff. And of course, you can't talk about Batman without talking about the Batmobile. It can transform into 2 different modes, racing and tank, and it can reach over like 300 miles per hour, so some crazy horsepower. But it's really the tank mode that you want to focus on. It's got a 60mm cannon which can fire out massive, armor-piercing rounds, a Vulcan cannon which can straight up disintegrate enemy tanks, so some serious firepower. And here's the best part about Batman. It's that he knows how to put all this to good use. He knows how to perfectly combine his physicality, his fighting skill, and his weapons and gadgets to take pretty much anybody down. he's a strategic and tactical genius. And I don't think there's a better thing to point to than his encounter with Mr. Freeze. Batman said that Freeze was too powerful and too dangerous to fight straight up, so Batman had to use stealth, the environment, and all of his gadgets in order to take Freeze down. But each time you would use one tactic against Freeze, he would make sure that you can never do the same thing twice. So he had to keep on coming up with new tactics each time in order to keep injuring him and taking him down. Or look at his run-in with Arkham Knight. This is Jason Todd. Sorry for a 7-year spoiler. That was also the most obvious surprise reveal of all time. And so, Jason trained with Bruce for years as Robin to his Batman. Knew everything there was to know about Bruce. Knew all of his secrets, knew his weaknesses. Jason thought he knew how to take him down. But you just can't compensate for Batman's intelligence and tactics. Batman is the absolute master of strategy. I don't care how much you think you have him figured out, Jason, because Bruce is always going to show you that you actually don't know much of anything. So, how powerful is Batman in the Arkhamverse? Well, he might be one of the best street level heroes ever. Might be one of the most powerful Batmen ever, with a combination of his insane strength and durability and speed, plus his world-class fighting skills and all the gear and toys that money can buy, not to mention a strategic mind like no other. He's a top-tier Batman for sure. Better than this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and definitely this guy, and pretty much every other live-action Batman. The only one who has him beat is the Batman from the comics. But that's a whole different story. Gotham can rest a little easier knowing that this Batman is out there watching over her, because he is seriously powerful. So, can Batman do it? Can he take all the Sinister Six? Well, I think there are really two ways to look at it. If the Sinister Six all attack at once, or if they split it up and try and take Batman down separately, kind of like how it went in the first Spider-Man game. And if they attack all at once, let's just be real, I really don't see any way that Batman can come out of that one on top. They got one over on Spider-Man, someone who's better and more powerful than Batman. I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that they'll just end up doing the same thing to Bruce. So instead, well, let's see how Batman would do against all of the Sinister Six individually. Kind of treat it like one of his infamous nights in Gotham, where he's gotta take down all the villains before the sunrise. The Vulture is Spider-Man's oldest foe in two ways. He was the first supervillain Peter ever fought. He's also well into his 70s. Despite his old age though, Vulture's high-tech flight suit allows him to keep up with Spider-Man, so he'll definitely be able to press Batman in a fight. Vulture's strong enough to knock Spider-Man around with his attacks. Pete considers him a dangerous and powerful opponent. He's also tough enough to take a lot of attacks from Spider-Man too. The biggest thing though is his speed and flight and his wings. Vulture is able to fly circles around Spider-Man, and his wings are sharp enough to cut Peter. Not to mention, he can throw them out like daggers and knives. But even still, Batman should have no problem with this one. Mostly because Vulture and Firefly are very similar, that they're both flying enemies with very obvious weak spots, their wings. Probably a bit trickier than beating Firefly, but Batman's got experience here, really should have no real issue at the end of the day. Scorpion's the member of the Sinister Six with the longest and most violent criminal record. He was once a run-of-the-mill mercenary before meeting Dr. Harley Stillwell, who would supply Scorpion with neurotoxin-based steroids and a mechanical suit of armor. With it, Scorpion could administer poisons with a deadly prehensile stinger, bringing his murderous tendencies to new heights. Scorpion's powerful enough to contend with Spider-Man, especially with his tail, and is extremely tough too, taking attacks from Spider-Man and even from the Rhino. But it's really the toxin that Batman's gotta worry about. The poison is potent enough to take down superhumans like Spider-Man, and it leaves some pretty vivid hallucinations and nightmares along with it. But again, in a lot of ways, Batman's been there, done that. Because for starters, even if he's hit by the toxin, he's also been hit by Scarecrow and Copperhead's toxins, and still managed to find enough willpower to still win the fights. Scorpion's toxin might be a little bit more potent, although that is debatable, but it's still nothing that Batman hasn't seen before. The problem comes in that Batman then has to overpower the toxin and still beat Scorpion in a fight, a guy who's powerful enough to give Pete a run for his money. The problem for Scorpion is that he's wearing a mechanical suit, something that Batman can easily exploit with his hacking gadgets, or maybe just throw out some explosive gel bombs. Either way, I think Batman can win this one. Otto Octavius was a brilliant engineer, but he began to descend into madness when his former colleague and current mayor, Norman Osborn, began rescinding his grants and only means of continuing his work. Add on a severe neurological disorder that was taking Otto's mobility, he began working overtime to complete his life's work, a set of extendable prosthetic arms. Despite warnings from his lab partner, Peter Parker, Otto developed a small chip that allowed his brain to interface with the arms, making them even faster and stronger than his own limbs. His hatred towards Norman, along with the chip coming with some psychological defects, well, it all turned Otto into Spider-Man's arch nemesis and the leader of the Sinister Six, Dr. Octopus. And if Doc Ock manages to grab Batman with his tentacles, well, it might be all over for the Dark Knight. I mean, he was able to overpower Spider-Man with his arms, actually forced Spider-Man to build a custom suit of armor in order to have a chance at beating him. He was that powerful. So if Batman tries to just fight this head on, well, he's gonna lose. Good thing that Batman is one of the stealthiest guys around, one with the shadows, would have no problem launching out stealth attacks and avoiding a direct head-on confrontation. There's also just the fact that if you take away the claw, you completely disable Dr. Octopus from actually doing anything. And all you have to do is destroy the chip in his neck to disable the claws. With Batman's stealth and his gadgets, I think you can do it. Once a Russian mob enforcer, Oleksii underwent a surgical procedure to graft a mechanical battlesuit onto his body, resembling a rhinoceros. The suit made him bulletproof, incredibly strong, and very short-tempered. The meathead of the Sinister Six, Oleksii responds to every obstacle or enemy by running straight at it, horn first. The Rhino would be a seriously hard challenge for Batman, because while you could compare him with Bane or Killer Croc, Rhino is just exponentially stronger and tougher than both of these guys. So it's not even really like a real comparison. But Batman has been able to defeat Solomon Grundy, who's probably more on par with Rhino. And again, it's Bruce freaking Wayne. He's one with the shadows, and so he'll be able to definitely launch out sneak attacks, use the environment to his advantage, even use several rounds of knockout gas and tranks to try and take Rhino down. And Rhino is more than dumb enough to just stand there and keep running head first into things. And worst comes to worst, well, Batman does have a pretty powerful and mobile tank that he can call in at a moment's notice. After a strange accident, criminal Max Dillon found out that he had gained the ability to control and project electricity. Easily one of the most versatile of the Sinister Six, he can fly, release bursts of powerful electric blast, control electromagnetic fields, and his powers only get stronger when in the presence of other forms of electricity. Max's end goal is to turn himself into pure energy, and he's definitely a genuine threat to Batman. Heck, Spider-Man believes that Electro could be a genuine threat to the Avengers if he ever reached his full potential. So yeah, Batman is gonna be hard pressed in this battle. He's almost pure energy, so he can move just as fast as lightning and keep pace with Spider-Man. He can also throw out powerful bolts of electricity, nearly frying Spider-Man, and can amp himself with transformers and other power sources to make himself even better. But Spider-Man's been able to hang with Electro by insulating himself from electricity with electrician's gloves. Batman has way better defenses and electrical protection built into his armor than just that. And again, Electro kinda works on tech. If Batman is able to shut that down, he's got a shot. Either way, definitely the hardest fight that Batman's had so far, just because Electro is so dang hard to actually put down. To the public, he's billionaire humanitarian Martin Lee, founder of the Feast Homeless Center. However, due to a rare medical condition as a child, he was injected with a serum by Norman Osborn, which turned him into a conduit for corruptive negative energy. He juggles his public role with position as gang leader of the Inner Demons, who's able to enhance through his negative abilities. Lee and his Inner Demons serve as the foot soldiers of the Six, and the billionaire seems more than willing to bankroll the team if it means he has his revenge on Osborn. And Mr. Negative is, without a doubt, the hardest villain for Batman here, especially if he goes straight demon mode. Good argument that Batman isn't able to beat this. But Mr. Negative's downside is that he can eventually run out of energy. Batman just has to play the long game here. Dodge attacks and strikes from the shadows, something that Batman thrives at, and Mr. Negative's ace in the hole, his ability to trap his opponents in an illusion, is perfectly countered by Bruce's extreme willpower, which Batman used to escape Scarecrow's fear gas. End of the day, I think Batman can do it. I think he can beat all of these villains. And in part, it's just because Arkham Batman is that good, but also because it's been done before by Craven. He was able to come in and hunt and kill a lot of these villains, taking out Scorpion, Electro, Vulture, and Rhino during his hunt. And if Craven is able to do it, well, Batman can too. Yeah, I think Batman can beat the Sinister Six, although it will be the hardest night of his life, that's for sure.